Hello boys and girls, quick guide today on how to heal Sentinel Talondras, the third boss in Uldaman. I see many groups actually playing this boss wrong and making it very hard. In fact, we actually played very bad in this kill as well. I had a perfect footage on my shaman, but we didn't time that key because we wiped on the last boss, or I accidentally deleted the footage. We'll have to do with this one. Let's start with the basics. As you can see, the boss has 2 orbs around him. That means that he's immune to the next 2 stuns. And he'll mark 2 players who are very conveniently going to drop orbs on the ground which actually stun the boss. Do not step on those orbs and make sure that the tank is dragging the boss on top of the orbs so he loses the stun immunities. The next big thing is a bleeding dot that he puts on a player, and in this case, as you can see, it's on myself, on the paladin. And this is basically the mechanic that is going to kill people. It does stick for a lot on tyrannical keys, but it is something that you can heal through eventually. The problem comes on the next boss ability, which is called Crushing Stomp. It's a 2-second cast, and after that he does heavy AoE damage to everybody in your party. So if somebody is already low by the dot and the Crushing Stomp happens, they could easily die. So your job as a healer in this fight is to keep the person with the dot topped off, and once the stomp happens, then you have to top off everybody from the AoE damage. Over here you can see that the second dot was removed by the evoker, so if you have somebody like that, it helps. Dwarf ratios, Bob from the paladin, they also work, but they're not crucial, and now we're at the last mechanic that the boss has. At 100 energy he's going to cast Titanic Empowerment, and if that goes off, it's pretty much a wipe, so you have to make sure that at this point you stun the boss. It's also worth noting that player stunts like Hammer of Justice, etc., they also work on the boss if you cannot drag him through an orb. After you stun him, he gets his 2 stun immunities back and his energy resets to 0, then everything starts all over again. And now here's the big trick: you should never see the tank empowerment being cast, instead you can stun him on his second Crushing Stomp. As you can see, the first one went off here and there was no bleed, now the bleed is up and he's going to Crushing Stomp again, but if you stun him, you're actually going to save the person with the dot because they're not going to get hit by AoE, and at this point of the fight, the boss is already close to 100 energy, so even if the stomp goes off, the next thing that he's going to do is cast the Titanic Empowerment and you have to stun him then anyway. Now, as I said, this is exactly what happens here because we didn't play good in this specific case and I just had to heal the person with the dot, which is a bit easier on a paladin with a lot of instant casts, but quite hard on, let's say, a shaman who has to cast their heals. Anyway, after the stun, the energy starts from 0 again and everything repeats over and over again. Another Crushing Stomp with no dot, then the dot goes on the evoker and I am just bopping him in this case to prevent him from dying because there is another Crushing Stomp coming shortly after. With no dot, we didn't have to stun the boss, but as you can see, the energy is quite high again, so after the Crushing Stomp is done, he will be casting Titanic Empowerment and you have to stun him anyway. Now, we mistimed the stun here, this is a mistake, but as you can see, the energy does reset, and the only minus in this strategy is that every time you stun the boss, he gets 5% damage increase up until he gets to 25% total damage increase. However, if you do not stun those Crushing Stomps, you have to stun him shortly after, so the only thing you win by waiting is just a few extra seconds of DPS before he starts doing more damage to you. However, if you have a way to clear the bleed, evoker, bop, whatever it is, you can let the Crushing Stomp go off, heal up the people, and then stun the Titanic Empowerment. My advice though is stun every even Crushing Stomp, the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, etc. And this is going to make the healing of this fight much easier because you're going to get less AoE damage going out and you're also not going to have nasty overlaps with the dot and the 2nd Crushing Stomp. DBM and bigwigs have timers, so you know when the next Crushing Stomp is going to happen, so you can time your cap totem or something like that, and every tank or paladin has a stun of their own, so you can make quick assignments in group chat before you pull the boss. So hopefully that strategy lets you kill the Talondras much quicker and with much less deaths. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy king and good luck.